So welcome everyone. Good to see you all. Good to practice together. And happy Mother's Day. It's wonderful to contemplate the understanding of the feminine in the Buddhist tradition. So the feminine would be emptiness, and the masculine would be skillful means. When you think of the underlayering meaning of this, the wisdom aspect or emptiness relates to the mystery of the womb. So causes and conditions come together in that space, and then a life is formed. So there was a relationship to nature in understanding the feminine, but also there's a clear understanding that we give birth to our own Buddhahood. It is our understanding of our wisdom mind that then propels us into full awareness and full Buddhahood. So it's lovely to have that reflection on Mother's Day. And today I'm teaching from a very short chapter in Pema Chodron's book, How to Meditate. It just was so clear, and it just made me so appreciate, first of all, the level of her experience and her capacity to communicate that experience. So she, at a certain point, around 2003 or 4, she decided to spend most of the year in retreat. And I'm not exactly sure when this book came out, but it feels as though reading it now, at every experience level, you understand and appreciate what she's seeing slightly differently what she's saying. And so I think she and Thich Nhat Hanh are extraordinary communicators. This short chapter was really absolutely lovely. And this short chapter is about our relationship to thoughts. So I'd like to make today really pretty experiential. So I'll start with the quote that she introduces the chapter with. And this is a quote from Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, who was the previous generation's great master, recognized by all the different lineages. And he says, "The towns and countryside that the traveler sees through a train window do not slow down the train, nor does the train affect them, neither disturbs the other. This is how you should see the thoughts that pass through your mind when you meditate." And I'm going to repeat this. "The towns and countryside that the traveler sees through a train window, car window, airplane window, they don't slow down the train, nor does the train affect them, neither disturbs the other. This is how you should see the thoughts that pass through your mind when you meditate." So with that as a basis, let's just review quickly the steps we have been working with. First of all, we're not trying to have an experience. We're not trying to prevent our thoughts, stop our thoughts. We're not struggling with our thoughts. We're understanding that as we get to know our minds, like a flower, that understanding opens up into layers of clarity, eventually revealing our wisdom mind. So it's more about paying attention and understanding than trying to do something or get something. Then we can align our posture. So sitting on the cushion or in a chair, relaxing your hips, your hip joint. You can rock your pelvis a little bit so it straightens your tailbone section, aligning and stacking up your spine. You can move your jaw in a little bit. Sometimes it helps just to push back your skull a tiny bit, and that straightens up your neck. Allow your shoulders to relax. You can let them hang like clothes on a hanger. And then in our Drikam tradition, we rest them on our thighs. Your eyes are open, just very gently open. You can put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and you can imagine just a tiny tug of a thread at the top of your skull, getting a little bit of space in all those spine joints. So with our body relaxed and all our circuits open, with our posture assisting that, then remembering our relationship to our inner narrative is one of a deep friendship. Think of your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews, your beloved friends, having that kind of softness and gentleness with your relationship to your own mind. So knowing that on any given day, what we encounter or our inner weather is not controllable. It's just what we open the door and see as we start to meditate. And so not judging that, but bringing that friendship to our inner weather. Let's sit in meditation for about 5 minutes, just noticing what is our relationship to our thoughts, to our ability to be distracted or not distracted, and to the quality of mind of the present moment when we are undistracted. So it helps to count our breaths or observe our breaths, just to see how distracted we are or how settled our mind is today. First moment. And we'll sit for 5 minutes. one of the teachings that's repeated over and over again through the ages by different masters. Our thoughts are the play of the mind. So we have this constant motion, just like the ocean is in constant motion, and we have all different kinds of thoughts, and it's like wave after wave after wave. So in this chapter, Pema just expresses so very clearly three kinds of thoughts. We have three kinds of relationships to thoughts. And the first is, she describes just very simply, you're gone. The thought is so strong, it carries you into a narrative as though you walked into a different room. There's a whole story going on, a whole movie going on. And, whether it's the past or the future or a fantasy, you're just totally gone. And then at some point, you remember, oh, this is my meditation time, and you come back, and it's like walking into a totally different room again. You leave that fantasy, that narrative, that movie, that story, and you're back in a present awareness, watching your breath. So what I found so interesting about this description was that she says what's really important in our relationship with this kind of experience is to look at the tone you have towards your inner self, towards your mind when you come back to meditation. And that 90% or 99% of us come back and immediately have a quality of harshness with our inner voice, a quality of judgment and harshness. And she said, okay, when you have that experience in meditation, right there, when you see the harshness come up, soften and relax. Because, and this is so beautiful and so beautifully put, criticalness is an obstacle to meditation, and harshness is an obstacle to awakening. So we can see right in that moment, when we take that harsh and critical tone, as we often have and often do, like, I only had 10 minutes today, and look what I've done. I was, thinking about work or thinking about whatever. And we can just feel that judgment and that quality of harshness. And she said, this is something that is really important to take into post-meditation as well, because it's very clear to us in that moment, wow, I can be quite harsh. And just if we could totally take in that criticalness is an obstacle to progressing in meditation. But even more, the harshness is an obstacle to awakening, because we are training ourselves in harshness in that moment and training ourselves in criticalness in that moment. So again, seeing it is the most helpful thing, and then beginning to say, I'm going to carry my inner voice differently. And when I studied with her, she said, you wanted to be so gentle, not only friendliness, but coming back into that room like a feather is tapping your shoulder. You're coming back to the present moment and not jumping into shock or dismay, but just like a feather tapping your shoulder. Oh, yes. Back to the settled mind, observing again. There is a constant play of thoughts. We're not trying to not have thoughts. We're trying to change our relationships to our thoughts. So the less inner critic and the less harshness begins that process. So she describes it as friendly attention, that tap of the feather on our shoulder. Oh, honey, back to meditation now. Friendly attention. Okay, the second kind of thought is gone, but not completely gone. So there are many levels to this. When we talk about the 9 stages of Shamatha, there is the gone totally, and then not completely gone, coming and going, let's say, like a swinging door. And that goes through many, many, many levels of subtleness. So our relationship to meditation after a while, is really about this stage of you're realizing quickly, you're coming back, you're tapping yourself with that friendly, soft touch back to the present, back to a concentration exercise if that's necessary today, and training in such softness with this that in the present moment, you're allowing your Buddha nature to manifest. So that softness, that gentleness, that receptivity, that friendliness allows you to realize quickly and more instantaneously and come right back to the present moment. And you're beginning to see the present moment as the present moment, distinguishing between subtle levels of distraction and being completely gone and coming back over and over. So let's go into another 5 minutes of meditation with that quality of friendliness and openness to your experience, and just noticing, maybe there is a chunk of being completely gone. What is your tone when you come back, your inner voice to yourself? And what is it like to be coming and going, but seeing the present moment more consistently and seeing distraction for distraction more quickly? And what is the tone and the softness and the quality of the feather tap as you're doing this? Okay, let's sit in meditation for another 5 minutes. and coming back again. So one thing we can start to notice is the difference between, let's say, the harsh judgmental critic aspect and any sense of struggle with your mind at all. I wish it were different, sort of pushing and pulling. I wish I could stay in the present moment. Not so obvious as being harsh, but a relationship of struggle, of wanting, the ego wanting something, as opposed to a gentle, relaxed openness, the feather tap, the ideal mother. Oh, honey, just back, sweetie, back. Like a lullaby, back. All right, so bringing that into our post-meditation, and imagine the relationship we have with daily life when we see our thoughts going in towards anger, towards addiction, towards frustration, not struggling, not judging, not any inner, yelling. Just, oh, honey, come back, present moment. That relaxed openness. And we can start to see, well, of course, with this relaxed openness, we are training ourselves in the present moment, as opposed to starting another narrative of how inadequate we are or how bad we are. We're all familiar with this, but there are many subtle layers of this relaxed, non-judgmental, unbiased. The waves are just waves. All right. So the third relationship with thoughts is we're in the present and we are undistracted. So like a passenger in a train, as Dilgo Khyentse was saying, imagine that all of the thoughts are just the passing landscape, and you're actually open and relaxed in the present moment, and the passing landscape is just going. Think of sitting in the back of a really comfortable car. You're not driving, so you're not running all the pedals or steering, and you're not being drawn out to the passing landscape. It's just going by. No thoughts about it, no judgments, no compelling, often in the spring, oh, the forsythia, wow, it's so beautiful, it's so yellow. No, there's no sensory magnetism. You're beginning to sit just in the present moment. The thoughts are there, but you're absolutely undisturbed. So that quote was so lovely. Neither disturbs the other. The thoughts don't disturb your steady awareness, and your steady awareness isn't disturbed or drawn out by the thoughts. You're with the object of meditation, in this case, the breath, and the thoughts are just like waves. Simple, like a very calm sea. They're moving, but not paying any attention to them. And she closes the chapter in a lovely way, and encouraging us to remember it's not a linear process. Our lives are like roller coasters. Some days are harder than others. Some days you may be more settled than others. So maintaining gentleness, patience, and humor. But the way she closes the chapter is with this quote from Venerable Gunaratna. And Venerable Gunaratna is one of the great masters of this era, I think he's still alive. He wrote Mindfulness in Plain English, and he's one of the most respected Theravadan teachers. So this is what he says. Somewhere in this process, you will come face to face with the sudden and shocking realization that you were completely crazy. Your mind is a shrieking, gibbering madhouse on wheels, barreling pell-mell down the hill, utterly out of control and helpless. No problem. You're not crazier than you were yesterday. It has always been this way, and you never noticed. So this was just a reminder that weather is weather, thoughts are the play of the mind, and yes, this is what we encounter some days. And with that gentle feather tap, with that sense of humor and vulnerability and humility, we have a steadfast relationship with our meditation practice, or a steadfast relationship with the non-struggling observation of our mind and the gradual relaxing with the playfulness instead of the shrieking, gibbering madhouse. They're just thoughts. They're just the passing landscape. So let's sit in meditation again, just observing our inner experience today, moving away from any harshness or criticism, softening, still observing, but softening, relaxing with gentleness, patience, and humor. Using breath as an object, noticing distraction as distraction, not worried, not struggling, not trying to create anything, but allowing that open, relaxed quality and the steadfast relationship with observing focus, distinguishing distraction and non-distraction, and relaxing as much as possible in non-distraction. And coming back, I'm going to close the live portion on YouTube. Bodhicitta, excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. So then we have